Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gaming Zone. I'm your host, Chriz, aka The Mole. Joining me is Anastasia, Lazerbeam, and James
Hi.
Phoenix.
Hello.
And today we're going to be looking at Star Trek Bridge Crew, which is available on PC and PS4. We played the PS4 version using the PSVR, made by Ubisoft. The game that constantly got delayed.
Yes.
Yep.
And what came out mostly works. Motion is fucked. I'll just say that here.
It's pretty, you can manage to make it work, but it does it in a really stupid way that's just not uncomfortable if you fiddle with it a long time. Like, if you want to try it, what you have to do is take your camera, literally face it at the floor, but also keep your head just slightly in view, because if you ever move anywhere, it'll say your headset's out of view because it's pointed at the floor and you're nowhere in view, so that'll constantly be an issue if you make the motion controls work. So you can make it work, but it's just so much of an effort, and it's not even that great that it's not even worth it.
And that doesn't even work. Because as I mentioned, when you did that and you said, look how it's working, your arms were still going all over the place for me.
Well, that's
So I
the
was
only
like,
way
oh,
I
okay.
could. That's the only way I could sort of make it managed well enough to actually do a single mission.
Yeah,
But
but
there's
that's
so much.
the problem is the animation. It makes everyone's arms go.
Yeah.
And at one point, and it's happened with the PC people and the PS4 person. At one point, I was playing with someone and their arm literally goes, and it just stayed there like that the whole time. And no matter what they did, they couldn't bring their arm down to use their left arm.
Yeah.
So we had a one-arm tactical guy, so therefore we lost half the stuff he could do. I was like, oh, well, that's helpful. I like to play with the old DualShock. It's easier and it just
better.
everything works. I'd have to say all games are like that. Like
Yeah.
Arkham's better with the motion. Oh, what do you call it? Until Dawn's better with the move controller. Farpoint's obviously better with the gun. A lot of them are better with the motion. But this just isn't what this is one of the few ones I'm going to say you avoid motion.
I agree.
But the idea of this is simple. You're all in crews, obviously, hence its name Bridge Crew, on a bridge. And each one of you got a designated area. Of helm, tactical, engineering, or captain. Which, that's pretty fun. I like all the roles except helm. I didn't like helm.
I like pretty much all the roles except captain, because that's super boring.
I like captain if depending on who you're playing with. The reason I say depending on who you're playing with is because a lot of the missions have multiple ways to go about it, and it's up to the captain to pick which way to do it and to tell people to do it. And if you've got people who won't listen to you, then it's going to be useless. But if you've got people who will listen and do what the captain wants, then the captain role's really fun.
Yeah, but I just like more interface, you know?
Yep. What roles did Jim play?
I did the helm and the tactical.
Ah, cool. What did you think of them?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I like the helm. That seems like the easiest one, I think. And that
engineering is
Yeah,
way easier.
I say engineering is the easiest, because
engineering, captain, and tactical are all easier than helm.
Fair enough. I thought the helm was pretty easy. But I picked up the helm was pretty. I picked up that pretty easily, and I got us where I needed to go, so that worked out. We had a crew that was working pretty well together, so we did a decent job on that. We did have one issue where the captains were trying to go to Impulse, and it wouldn't let us cue the course for Impulse. I realized in retrospect, Stacey, I think it's because we were already at the place he wanted to go.
Yeah.
I think that's why that was refusing to work. I didn't realize it at the time, but it occurred to me after the fact.
And I noticed you had difficulty managing the two screens. Like, you kept looking in the view screen, but not at your own personal screen. So,
yeah, I was trying to go between the two. It was a bit of an issue for me.
What do you mean?
Like, he was looking outside, like, the view screen window and not looking at his main console, like, that's in front of him.
Oh, yeah, you meant to look at the count with stuff in front of you with the radar.
Yeah, I realized that, oh, there's the this and that and the other thing. I finally realized what was going on, but it took me a minute to realize how it worked.
Yep. which it's pretty fun. There's a story mode, which isn't that much story, but it's there. It's like the main missions, and then there's like an ongoing one where we get randomly produced battles, which are fun.
Those are fun.
So you can play it forever if you wanted to. Which that's pretty fun. They threw in the original series' ship, which I will say is my favourite one to be on, but my least favourite to play on. Like I said, it looks good, but whenever you're on it, you just get whiny people complaining, oh no, stuff's moved, now I have to learn a different thing. That's how most games are. It's like if you're playing Street Fighter and suddenly someone's picked Ryu, so you're like, okay, so we want to be different people, and you have to pick someone else. You have to learn the controls and how that one plays. It's the same thing, but no one wants to at this point. Everyone's lazy, but the original ship just looks cool.
Yeah, I showed Jim the original ship.
You showed him the original ship.
Mm-hmm.
He did. I didn't have the headset on, but I watched on the screen as she was running it, and you're pretty much right. It was pretty freaking hilarious because like this, she came into the briefing room and she was like, "Well, I'm about to torture you all because I'm going to show my friend the original Enterprise ship." And two of them I don't think had done it before, and the third guy was like, "Well, if you want everybody to hate you, then that's your business."
Yeah, it's because like I said, a lot of the players are just lazy and won't learn the new one. I've literally been on the original Enterprise and done more missions than I had on the other one because I've been with people who are willing to learn and adapt to the new ship. And if you do that, it's really it's good.
The problem is how they got it. They just didn't have the time to adapt to it because they got in there and they were just struggling to figure out what the buttons and the controls in. Because the one guy was like, "Well, there's green and yellow buttons that do completely different things right next to each other that look the same," and the other person couldn't figure out how to look at a map and do this thing. It's just because everything is set up so differently, it's hard to do.
Yeah, it's hard, but it doesn't mean it's bad, if that makes sense. And if you press a button, it tells you what everything is because it has all the names of it on front of you, so you can see all that layout.
Yeah, the help menu.
Yeah, and then I know
all I was saying was it looks good, but people just won't take the time to learn it. They go on it once, fail, and go, "Oh, it's pointless, it's useless, it's completely hard, it's too impossible." And you're like, it's easy to do when you learn how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you don't want to do it, but it's a matter of having the time and being able to learn how to do it. Not everybody can pick that up. I mean, hell, I sat there watching them all. They were all trying to figure out how to, even figure out how to get the. It took them like 20 minutes to figure out how to charge the warp nacelles.
Yeah, which like I said, it's one of those things. You just try to learn it. It doesn't mean it's bad, which is the point of. As like I said, like if you play a fighting game, it doesn't mean it's bad if you pick up a character who you don't know its moves.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's just that bridge is less intuitive than the main one. And I know, and even Stacy had the problem. Even Stacy was flipping out trying to figure out how to see things, and I had to point out to her that on the top of the tablet was a button for the map.
Yeah, because she hasn't taken the time to learn it.
I haven't been in the captain's role ever for the original Enterprise either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which. Like I said, it's not hard. It's not too hard to do. Once you just do it a few times, you'll get into it.
Yeah, that's true. And I didn't actually complete the mission, shockingly, but
yeah,
we saved like one person.
Yeah, but you can do it, which people claim you can't do. You can't complete missions in it. You can.
Yeah, that, and then I know. I didn't try the main Enterprise, so I don't know, but I do know that I can understand, how confusing it would be given that on the main ship, everything is laid out on the screen in front of you, you can see everything. Whereas in the original Enterprise, some stuff is over here, and it's because it's not as advanced tech, it looks different. So I can see how that might disorient somebody who hadn't done it before.
Yeah, it's also because this isn't technically the Enterprise you're on in the game isn't one from any of the stuff.
Right.
Even though this is set in the new movie universe. It's basically a ship designed for the game, so everything's laid out a lot easier for you to do.
Yeah, the Aegis.
The other stuff, the stuff's there. You just got to take time to try.
Fair enough. Yeah, I did enjoy trying around with the helm and the tack stuff that I did, which was a lot of fun. It did take me some time to get accustomed to running all the tack stuff, and I remember Stacey kept having to remind me to scan the things to make sure that I could see what the weaknesses were and stuff like that. And The round that I did run tack, we did end up unfortunately failing because I hadn't done the tactical stuff before, and because it was probably assumed that I would do certain things automatically, even though I had mentioned I hadn't done tack before. So we ran into a slight problem of we ran into enemy ships we were getting shot at, and because I hadn't done the tack before, I wasn't totally familiar with everything I was doing, and the hull went down to like 60% before somebody realized I hadn't put the shields up.
See, I'm gonna have to say, I wouldn't blame you for that.
No, they didn't blame me for it. I was just saying
I was saying I'd blame the captain for that. Because one of the roles people say the captain's supposed to do is, if there's a new player like you who hasn't done the role before, the captain's also supposed to try and help them and teach them how to do it as he's captaining.
Yeah, the captain.
And the captain can keep an eye on the shield, so he should have been able to find that out earlier. He should have been able to tell you what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it. So then you just, you know what I mean? So you'd be clicked in.
Yeah, the first game I played where I was running the helm, that captain was pretty good. He had me guide through a couple of things to figure out what we were doing and making sure that we had, power and that. He was pretty good at about it. But the second group, because after the first round, a bunch of people left, we had to wait for another group of people to come in, and only one guy staying around. At least we had 2 new people, and it ended up being a bit harder to work with. So we did it. I mean, everybody was cool about it. Everybody was yelling. It was just a little annoying because, especially me, a Star Trek fan, you would think, being that I know what a tactical officer does, I would have gone, oh, I should probably turn the shields on.
Nope, but you're a noob.
Yeah, pretty much. So
The character creation on here leaves a bit to be desired.
yeah, it kind of does.
Like, with only 2 races and very limited options, I mean, what if I wanted to be like a Klingon or a Beta Z or like,
It's because technically at this time, they're the only ones on there because it's still in Kirk's era. And it's set during the new films era, so they don't have to worry about continuity as much in terms of like how many fucking episodes and movies and all the other stuff. Therefore, there has been no Klingons on board the Enterprise at this point.
No Beta Zs?
No, Beta Zoids didn't join the Federation until later on.
Yeah, the only ones you had at this time was Human and Vulcan.
And depending on whether you're considering Enterprise, Denobulans, they were the only other one, but there weren't even that many of them.
Yep. And even them, he was meant to be the only one.
Yeah. Although
you haven't seen them much in Kirk's time and stuff, so
true.
You don't know what happened to them.
Although it is worth noting that even in Kirk's time, the Federation had long since had both the Andorians and the Tellarites involved as well, but I can understand why a lot of them wouldn't have joined Starfleet, might still serve with their own militaries by then. So
yeah, because in Kirk's time, it was still weird that they had Vulcan on board.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
it was literally the exact ship predecessor that they flew on had a human captain and a Vulcan first officer. You would think people would know that.
That still doesn't stop it being weird to people.
I guess that's true.
Because people still don't trust Vulcans that much.
That is true, and I can't blame them for that.
Yeah, exactly. But but that's just one of those things of I would have liked more. Like, I know a couple of people wanted to make Borg and stuff like that, but
no.
Some people really like the Borg.
I know, but that's not appropriate. Borg, the closest thing you ever came to a Borg serving at Starfleet was 7 of 9. That was like one time.
So?
Yeah, I was gonna say so. Like, I kind of wanted to make a Klingon because I liked B'Elanna.
Yeah,
which is fine, and I can understand why you'd want to do that. That makes sense because we've had Worf and we had some Klingons in Starfleet. It's just not common, but it happens.
Yeah, but I said
also one instance where they happen to have a returned Borg, and that didn't happen very often because you didn't get people back from the Borg.
But how many times have we seen the races from Enterprise on there, which you mentioned?
Yeah, the Denobulans must have been invented for Enterprise because I never saw many of the other series, but then
exactly
why they're not on any ships afterward. Although they
are.
Exactly.
And Voyager is the last series continuity-wise.
In its outline, yeah.
Yeah, and they started having the Borg and stuff. And if you always like to pull in STO bullshit, they have Borg on there too that you can create. And people like the Borg; they just want to create a Borg. So I can understand why, if that makes sense. It's like when people play DCUO, how many people liked playing with the light powers? There's only supposed to be like a set amount of Green Lanterns running around.
That's true.
Can I take this one step forward and further and be a hologram?
You are.
That's her secret.
You are a hologram in the game, technically speaking, by the presence of you being digital.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I will admit, yeah, they could have done with more customization options just for the two they had at least.
Yeah,
Mainly because I played the game with a bunch of guys, and every single one of them had my head.
Yeah, and the fact that even with all the customization options, there's only one facial hair in the entire game, and it's a full goatee thing.
That was the one everyone picked, including me. I picked that one for facial hair, and everyone picked that one. Mine was black. People picked like light brown and stuff, but it was always the same one. I'm like,
see, because that was the only facial hair, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna bother with the facial hair, and I just left myself clean shaven.
I bet, Mo, I bet it to you, it looked like that Next Gen episode with all the clones and stuff.
yeah, I even mentioned, it's like a clone invasion in here. Because Attack of the Clones, that's Star Trek, right?
Yeah, close enough.
But there wasn't enough Stargates in this. That was Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't see any Babylons.
Yeah, there weren't any battle stars either.
Or Atlantis.
Don't be silly, Jim. Don't be silly, Jim. That was made up for Futurama.
Oh, okay.
No, but yeah, like I said, the core of the game is solid. I would like to see more stuff like this. I even suggested, which I don't do often, and Jim's going to go, yay, because it's something positive. I actually suggested a Power Ranger game like this.
Really?
Because it'd be cheap to do, and you'd be inside a Megazord, actually working together to do various actions of the Megazord.
That's a valid point.
They'd finally get you to do Megazords, right? Yeah, okay, you wouldn't be able to do all the fighting and all the bullshit. Yeah, and jumping up to the rooftop, which totally isn't just jumping down and filmed backwards.
Yeah.
But it's a case of you'd be out in the Megazord. They'd finally, if they could do it like Power Ranger Megazord battles, and then just do different skins in the Megazords at the end. Just go and you get the different finishes or whatever.
That'd be neat.
It would work, and it'd be cheap as fuck to do too, because they wouldn't need to pay all the licenses, because you'd create your own person to be a ranger.
Yeah. That'd be neat.
Yeah. But like I said, the core is solid.
Yeah. Very much so.
The audience for it, or the community, is probably the best community I've played online.
It's a great community. I agree.
The reason I say that is there's hardly any assholes on there.
Yeah, most people are really cool and they'll help you out and stuff.
Because of its nature, of it's so socially dependent.
Yeah.
If someone is like that asshole stuff, people either just kick them straight away or just don't want anything to do with them. Which means it's not like when I've played other games, I'm not going to mention which ones, but where you've had people blasting music or screaming because they're not winning and all the other bullshit baby stuff. And I'm like, oh.
Or 5-year-olds cursing at you.
Exactly, and it's like, no, I don't want this.
That's on Jason.
Whereas when you play this one, first thing you get straight away is just people like, oh, hi, and they actually talk to you. Whereas I played like Overwatch online with a friend of mine, and all he got was someone saying the N-word to him a bunch of times.
Okay then.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, okay, I'm done with this. So he's not played it since because he doesn't like being obviously racially abused online. And he's like, no, that shouldn't happen.
No, it shouldn't.
But, like I said, a lot of games, because they're so me, if that makes sense. Not me, personally. I mean, like, it's not focused on the team. You can be like Call of Duty, even like Overwatch and stuff like that, and Battlefront and Battlefield and stuff, while they are team-based games, you can run off on your own and do stuff. This one, you need to constantly be in communication with all the roles. Therefore, you have to work together as a team to win. And because either people just want to have fun and want to do the mission correctly, or people want to win, either way, you have to work together. Thus, you're not going to be like playing your music and stuff. Now, I will say I did have one bad experience on this, which was just funny. Or, well, technically two, but it was the same mission. I played online with my brother, and we were enjoying it. Then we had one guy who constantly kept turning and looking at you, going, I can see you. And then looking back, then looking at you, I can see you, and then looks back. Then we had another guy who midway through basically did what Jim does.
Peace out.
He started ignoring the game.
He took off his headset, went to the background. We could hear him ordering a shopping list for his wife. Like, oh, yeah, we should get some eggs in, and we need to get some more of that. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. The oil you use. Yeah, that one. We need to get some of that in. You know how I like my omelets. And I'm just like, no, be a captain. No. And it's worse because he was the captain too. So it's like we don't want to progress without the captain. While we could technically all just agree to what we should do, we shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
But that was two really rare instances, and most of it was fun. That's why I kind of want to get that game. The other guy recommended to me in Pew.
What's that?
Werewolves Within, or whatever it's called, where you sit around, you hold a book like that, and you're having to, like, your card, Jim, may say you have to convince everyone else Pew is the werewolf.
Okay.
Pew's card may be you are the werewolf, or it might even be you're not the werewolf. Avoid suspicion, or whatever. Mine may be I'm the werewolf, which means I have to convince everyone that I'm definitely not. Jim would have to want to try and convince people Pew is, because then he gets points for it. But you do so by discussing it as a team and using social skills to advance, and I like that.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, looks cool.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think of the stuff that's there, Pew, and like the community and stuff like that?
Community's great. I actually met like 3 different people on that Star Trek thing that happen to have the same games as me, and now I play other games with him. So the people that are there are just really nice. I like how they have like the exterior views, and you can have like see the damage and stuff. I like this little touches when people like the red shirts die if you get too low hull damage, and the ship turns out, and the ship starts falling apart from the inside, and sparks come out.
That animation where they go, oh, and then they get teleported away because they're dead, and then you can get a trophy. He's dead, Jim. It's just funny.
That's a trophy. Nice.
But I will say, did you do the thing, Pew? I think I recommended to you last time I played, because when I was playing with my brother, one of the groups we had when we had it going, the guy recommended it. It's so fucking funny to press external when you go to warp, because then you just go whoosh right through, and it feels jarring a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty trippy.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I think it's super fun. I just don't want to see more of it.
Yep,
I want to be able to go in sick bay. I want to be able to go, I don't know, like do other stuff on the ship. I want people to invade on the board. I want to actually see the Klingons I'm fighting. Like, I want to be on the view screen.
That'd be cool.
Because all the ones with the Klingons, you just get the audio.
I want to see. I want to see expansions. I don't want to see ground missions or people more stuff on the crew thing. If that makes sense. But I'd like to see more missions added. Maybe ships from other TV shows and stuff like that. And I know you could argue, yeah, because of the timeline and stuff, which is fine. But you could always get the Enterprise ship. That's still technically there, or Star Trek Discovery, because they got the cast there, they got the new stuff. They could include something for that, like a Star Trek Discovery add-on. And I'm expecting, when I say expansion, I don't mean like, oh, look, it's a $5.99 mission that was left off the game. I mean like, oh, look, this is like a £20 add-on that adds a lot of content, like proper old school expansion packs, like the WoW expansion packs.
There you go.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I'd like to get the next generation Enterprise bridge in there, because I think that'd be cool to play on, just because I really like that bridge. Even though I know it doesn't fit the timeline, it would still be cool.
It would.
And I do like how, number one, just
I said it would fit the timeline, Jim.
No, I heard you. I said that. I said, yeah, I agree. I know. Anyway.
No, you said even though it wouldn't fit the timeline. I was like, yeah, it would, because it's still before Kirk, so it's still something that happened.
Next Gen's not before Kirk.
Technically, if you look, this is the original TV show ship they gave us the DLC, and it's the new Kirk movie. Technically, all the other stuff happened before it, before they went back through time to change this, as everyone likes to say, the old continuity is there. Thus, the ship they gave us is the old original one, which isn't the one featured in the movies. Thus, the possibilities would be expanded for all of them.
Okay, that makes sense. Cyclically. Fair enough. But yeah, I did like, and I think my first time playing anything in VR, I will just say that it was really cool to be able to turn around and see everything around you and the whole bridge and feeling like you're actually there and the textures and stuff. One thing I did find interesting though is the fact that when you're sitting on the bridge, like you have these nice light up view screens, and then the actual thing supporting it looked like really cheap plastic. Which is kind of funny. But I did like how, like, when you get attacked, the consoles spark, and I even actually commented to the crew I was playing with at one point. I was on the tactical run. I was sitting in the tactical seat, and because of the lack of shields, we were getting attacked a lot. And when we finally got the shields up and we fought them off, but we were like really heavily damaged. I remember looking around the bridge and like all the effects and everything. And I remember even saying to the crew, I'm like, you know, I really like the realistic bridge damage. I love how that ceiling panel is about to fall out.
Yeah.
Because it's all hanging half off, and those wires coming out of it and shit.
I wish you could do a little bit more with engineering. Like, I kind of wish you could be like in engineering. Like, I want to like, I don't know, realign like the crystals or something in like maybe like a short mini game or like activity or something. I want to like do some more like hands-on stuff, because only thing you really do is repair crews and rerouting power. I felt like that's the one you do the least of, because half the time you don't need to reroute power.
You definitely repair a lot.
Yeah, they reroute power all the goddamn time in that show. But yeah, I could see if they transfer the existing console to the giant table in the center of the engineering department, and then had others, or the console for Scotty, depending on the era, and then had you go through and be able to control that, and then have other stuff around the other sides of it. That'd be kind of cool.
And I will say, the rerouting the power, that's something you do a hell of a lot in that game, or at least our crews normally do. Because doing it can make you go faster, so you can get to where you need to go faster, or extend the range of which you're going to shoot and all the other stuff. Therefore, it actually helps you plan out your missions better, knowing, okay, let's slow down, but let's increase our range and our weapon so we can attack further back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our crews are the same thing, because when I was running the helm, you know, I pumped the engines up to 4,000. We were heading toward the enemy, and the captain was talking to the engineer, and the captain was trying to figure out. He's like, you know, maybe we want to. He's like, Helm, why don't we reduce the engine power? We don't want those Klingon ships to spot us. And the engineering guy was like, no, I only have the engine power at 4,000. At that, they won't detect us. It's probably he can max out what I've given him, and it will still be fine. And they were working back and forth to, you know, monitor the power levels and route this to that. You know, when we did get attacked, he routed it to the weapons. My engine power went down to 1,000. He routed the rest of it to the weapons and the shields.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Now, I do reckon, however, some of the where you like go into like the system hijacks and all the other stuff you can do, I reckon some of those should be station based. Like engineering should probably get the teleporter.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean? And like tactical could get like the weapons targeting and stuff, whereas helm could get the engines or something like that. You know what I mean? So if you spread it out, then therefore, even on missions, like if you go on a mission where you're not going to be heavily tactical, you're going to be engineering and helm more.
Yeah.
Tactical would still feel good, or same with the engineering, or same with helm. Like they've all got a purpose that they have to do in each mission.
Yeah, I will say, knowing Star Trek, I think the reason they did that, is because during the actual show, especially the latter ones, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen a lot of the Kirk era show, but I know in a lot of the latter ones, but specifically Next Gen comes to mind, but the same as on the others, is that there's a lot of instances where, depending on who was available on the bridge and who was off doing other things as part of away teams, whatever, in a given episode, a lot of different people on the bridge had control of the transporters of this and that. So they were probably trying to make it realistic to match the fact that, okay, sometimes Worf was using the transporter from the tactical console, sometimes Data did it from Ops, sometimes, Wesley or Geordi did it from the helm or the engineering. So different times people use different things, but could access them from any given console. So I think that was just trying to, for realism's sake, that anybody who was available could do it that wasn't focusing on something else. That way,
they did, but at the same time, we've had instances where like the helm people have literally patched through the transmissions coming to them and stuff, where the captain's like, patch them through, and the helm does it. But this one, it's on the captain's chair where he presses the button, but not on anyone else's. So I'm like, just for game purposes, I could see them doing just something a little like that, just to make the roles more fun.
That they could, but I think it's one of those. It is only because, again, you're in an instance where, you know, let's say that you're having a situation where you need to beam some people off of an injured ship, but at the same time you're being shot at. It'll be really inconvenient if the thing you need is at a station that the person using it is currently preoccupied with, that doesn't have time to use that thing. By having it with everybody, whoever's not currently busy can do the thing.
Hence, I said engineering, because what you need for that instance is more. You mainly need the tactical ones for that one.
Right, but if engineering is routing powers trying to stop the ship from blowing up, he might not have the time either. That's why it's nice that you had that for anybody who's available and the person on the crew who is not busy with whatever's going on to deal with, so that if engineering is trying to route power to stop the ship from blowing up and the tactical is defending you, the helm guy who's probably not doing much can start worrying about the transports, or vice versa. If the helm guy's trying to avoid bad guys, the engineer can do it, whatever. It gives the ability for people to do different people to do the mission depending on who's doing what. So even if certain crew members are busy, the rest of it can still be done.
Yeah, I can understand why they did it. I'm just saying, I think for a game purpose, it's more fun if people feel more useful in each role. Like even the captain could have some of those for him, and suddenly you'd feel more useful as a captain if you're playing with people who are experienced.
Well, I agree. It's good to feel useful in a role, but I think from a game perspective, it's a pain in the ass if you keep running into a situation where one person has to do something and then another thing on top of it, and they're the only one that can do it, and it's not possible to do both, and everybody else has to sit there with twiddling their thumbs because they can't do anything.
Which is how you feel anyway, because the way that with that game, like Pew mentioned with engineering, if you're on a mission where engineering isn't that needed, and you're engineering, you're just bored. Or if you're captain and everyone knows what they're doing and won't listen to you, you just sat there.
Mm-hmm.
That's every game. It happens.
But that was the point of. That's how roles are. A lot of games do it where the roles still feel useful. That's not every game. For example, if you play, I know Star Wars Battlefront, there's not a single time where you're bored shitless stood around doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like your role matters. You feel like you have to run and do stuff. If you're one of those people that's just going to stand around ignoring the game and are looking at like Facebook links and doing a whole bunch of other shit, then this isn't the game for you anyway.
Groceries.
Yeah, this isn't the game for you.
Yeah.
And not every game makes you feel completely useless in your role.
I don't think there's any point I felt useless in the role. I don't think I didn't do engineering or captaincy, but I didn't feel useless in the role. And from what I've seen other people do, you have to have all four people cooperating to get missions done. Yeah, the first part of a mission might not need somebody, but you're inevitably going to be needed for something or other. So either way, it's important to have all those roles. And sometimes somebody gets a break and doesn't have to do as much. Other times they're doing a lot and other people aren't doing as much. It's balanced. That's realistic to Starfleet missions. Is sometimes you go to a mission where certain people are heavily involved in what's going on and the other people aren't. That's just how it is.
I would make the case, name a time in Starfleet where you felt like the captain didn't even need to be there. Where you felt the captain was completely useless. Because most of Star Trek focuses on the captain.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the most important, or she, but they're normally the most important role. Yet in this one, they're the role that can feel the most useless if you've got either people who've done the mission before, or if you run into the instances where people just won't listen to you or various other stuff, you just feel like you just sat in a chair at that point. Because all your other crew's the one that does everything. All you do is answer the phone. You're basically the fucking communications operator at this point. You're less Kirk and more O'Hara at this point.
And you know what? I wanted a button that says on screen. Okay, I didn't want a button to make it there. I just wanted a button so my character would say on screen. That's what I wanted.
Yep.
But I can agree with that.
Yeah, but overall, final ratings, I'll say for me personally, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. It's worth it. If you like Star Trek, you'll enjoy this. If you like social stuff, you'll enjoy this. Or hell, even if you just like some VR experiences, you'll like it. Like the VR does obviously add a lot to this. Then again, if you didn't have VR, you wouldn't be able to play it. But the only downside to it is it's more online dependent, which will put some people off. But that's kind of the nature of what the type of game this is. So it's a thumb up. It'd be like complaining that you just bought World of Warcraft but have no internet. How about one of you two?
I think I'd give this game like a solid like 80 or like a B plus. because it was very enjoyable. The community's great. Generally, it's pretty awesome. You meet awesome people. Controls are relatively intuitive. The answer, and each of the roles are fun, and you feel like you're a part of a team.
How about Jim?
I'd give it about an 85. I agree. It's a really fun game. You do feel like you're part of a Starfleet crew running things on the bridge, and that's really great. But I would say that I agree that there could be some improvements made. Again, if the team isn't working together, that can be a problem. I think there should be a little bit more of the interaction with what's going on outside the ship. More of, oh, look, here's the enemy. They're going to come up on screen and talk to the captain. Maybe that would give the captain something to do, or any kind of more interaction with what's going on around you, not just go over here, shoot this, whatever. And everybody, being able to see what's going on, see, okay, this is beaming, this, whatever else. Everybody to really have more feel like you're more present in the world around you, and not just sitting on a holodeck simulation bridge. But overall, it looks great. It is a lot of fun to play. If you're a Star Trek fan, you'll really enjoy it. And I think everyone should give it a shot. And I hope that they keep working to add some more to this. Maybe some DLC packs, some additional shift styles, more missions. Change it up a little bit. This is, I think, where Star Trek games could and should go, because this is a really good game and it's a lot of fun.
Yep, and I will say there's been some new patches and updates since we've been playing and stuff like that, so they are supporting it, at least in updates, which is good. Like, I haven't had that weird glitch I think it was with Pew when it happened. It was either, I can't remember if it was Pew or if it was someone else, but every time we went to warp, we got stuck going through the portal.
Ooh.
And we were like, oh, okay, so we had to back out, and we tried it again and got stuck going through the portal. But I think they've patched that, because one of their patches, they've added they've added more stuff in terms of that and fixed more errors and various other stuff. So I'm glad they're supporting it.
Yeah. Just a forewarning to everyone, though, I will mention, in terms of errors being patched, hopefully they'll fix it soon. But if you're in a given session trying to run a mission, and if it ends up timing out as you're loading into the mission, when you come back into the briefing room to do the next one, you will not be able to hear anybody. That was confirmed to me by a guy, because once we made it onto the actual bridge to the next mission, we could hear each other. But in the briefing room, there was no audio. We could not hear each other. And when I talked to one of the guys, he confirmed that was the reason why. He said he'd run into it before. If you get timed out, the audio doesn't work in the briefing room for the next one for some reason.
Yep. And hopefully they patch the motion controls.
Yeah, that's the worst part. I played with the DualShock both times upon Stacy's recommendation. And that seemed to be the better option, because I didn't even everybody's, all the other people who were using the motion or who were not on the PlayStation were playing it on the PC. You just saw them, they're all going like this.
Yeah. So they need to patch the animation, but they also need to make it so it has a better play area, so it can read what you're doing more, regardless where you are. Like some of the times, where the stuff is, even though you're supposed to be sat down, it's really fucking weird, because you have to rotate all the way around to a position you wouldn't actually be in, like when you're captain or something, to then reach down to somewhere where you can't normally reach down. It's like, what? No.
Yeah, that was the other thing that I noticed, that Stacey went through this, so did I, is the fact that for some reason, when the game orients you into be running everything, you seem to just be too high no matter what you do. If they lowered the character position a little bit, it would be a lot easier, because it just always seems like you're constantly having to go like this to see your console. And it's sometimes a pain to do.
Well,
I also noticed I was pretty much consistently and constantly having to hold select to reorient myself forward, because my thing ended up being aimed over here straight or whatever else.
See, I'll admit, I don't have that. I had it on the captain's chair where it was weird, but I'm like, because the captain doesn't turn around on the chair. The rest of the stuff, when you're looking down and you're doing it, feels more natural, because when you're looking up, you're directly where the screen would be. And if you look at Star Trek, whenever they do stuff, they always look down at their computer when they do it.
They do. They go, okay, I'm looking at my computer. They don't go, oh, I'm going to look down at my computer.
This is all I do. And then I just press the control pad.
See, maybe yours is better oriented, because I kept having to go like this to go down there. And I remember I was live streaming with Stacy the first time she played it. She had me on the share play. And what'd you spend? A half an hour trying to orient it so you could actually see the console and do shit without reaching down to the floor?
Well, that's also because I use the move controls, so that's half that right there.
Yeah. But like we said, that was our thoughts, and this was a fun game. And join us over on Pets of the Mind tomorrow when we do something.
Something! Yay!
I'm not sure if it's Spider-Verse or Jim wants to review the Tooth Fairy movie with The Rock.
No, I would not do that. No, it's we're going to be viewing the Spider-Verse comic.
Not Tooth Fairy 2?
No. Not Larry the Cable Guy.
To get it done.
No.
Peace.